And I think that he expected, for some reason, that he would be out on bond. And obviously, that hasn't happened. There were three different.
Insiders are revealing that jail life is taking an undeniable toll on the music mogul. And not only is his freedom at risk, but his sanity may also be unraveling. Sean Combs is starting the new year in a place where no one ever expected to see him behind bars. For someone who spent decades creating a larger-than-life image of success, power, and invincibility, this reality is hitting harder than any of his chart-topping hits.
So this isn't someone who's a hardened criminal who has spent a lot of time in custody. So the fact that he's spending Christmas and New Year's and future holidays in prison is probably finally getting to him.
According to sources, Diddy has been using medical visits as a means of escape because his days at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn are very different from the opulent lifestyle he is accustomed to. Rumor has it that he has been visiting the hospital frequently in an attempt to buy himself some time out of custody, but the worst part is that his requests for release are not being granted, and each unsuccessful attempt only serves to increase his frustration.
Sean Combs is not giving up on his fight to be released on bail as he awaits trial on charges. His request for release has been denied twice, so he's hoping the third time will be a charm.
For years, Diddy played the role of a man untouchable living in a world where rules bent to his will and consequences seemed non-existent. But now he's facing the stark reality of being just another inmate subject to the same rigid structure and daily grind as everyone else. The man who once commanded rooms now has to wait in line for basic necessities, and insiders say the psychological strain is starting to show the stakes couldn't be higher. Diddy isn't just fighting for his freedom, he's fighting to keep his carefully crafted image intact. But as the days drag on, the cracks are becoming harder to hide. Will he find a way to maintain his composure, or is the weight of his past finally catching up with him? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. P. Diddy is starting 2025 with anything but a bang, as reports suggest the disgraced mogul is having a tough time adjusting to life behind bars. According to insiders, his first holiday season locked up at the MDC in Brooklyn was marked by a meltdown over his circumstances, an alleged outburst that some say culminated in a plea for medical attention, which was denied.
And that Diddy's going to be in custody at least until May 2025. I think he's just having a tough time coming to terms with it.
Diddy was charged with racketeering, extortion, and coercion in September of last year. His defense team first suggested house arrest at his Miami mansion, then moved to a posh New York apartment. But the courts have not changed their minds, citing the possibility of flight, potential danger to the community, and accusations that he attempted to tamper with witnesses while in custody. The most recent setback seems to have pushed Diddy over the edge. As sources claim, he turned to meditation tech and he gets into a lot of trouble and people want to kill him. So what if someone from the outside knew someone who had a relative who worked in the prison, and they put something in his food a little bit at a time, and he gets poisoned, whatever it is, and it's early checkout for Mr. Puff Daddy? That's another reason, according to a source, that said when he first arrived, this is kind of normal because you're going through this transition and you're depressed and you don't know what's going to happen. Another explanation for his lack of appetite is that he was worried the food was tainted or poisoned.
This isn't someone who's a hardened criminal who has spent a lot of time in custody. So the fact that he's spending Christmas and New Year's and future holidays in prison is probably finally getting to him.
A source close to Diddy claims that on the day after Christmas, he begged guards to take him to the prison hospital for observation because he thought he was having a breakdown. When the guards refused, Diddy reportedly lost it even more. According to his powerful legal team, Diddy believed he would be out on bail by now. Spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him, but he eventually managed to calm himself down using the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. The source added that it took him several hours of deep breathing and concentration to get out of the bad space he was in, but he eventually managed it.
The place where he's locked up now getting a lot of attention The Metropolitan Detention Center, the only federal jail in New York City, is known for violence, poor conditions, and a string of celebrity.
To be honest, this is not the first time Diddy has tried to have his way while in custody. Sean is facing accusations of relentless efforts to corruptly influence witness testimony. Prosecutors claim he used other inmates' phones accounts and made three-way calls to contact unauthorized individuals. A court filing alleges Combs instructed his family to reach out to potential witnesses in his case, as revealed through recorded calls at a hearing. Judge Arun Subramanian ordered prosecutors to destroy copies of materials seized from Combs' jail cell while deciding if they can be used at trial. The judge also ruled the materials could not be used at Coles' upcoming bail hearing. Combs' defense argued the notes were illegally seized and contained attorney-client privileged information. Prosecutors countered, saying a filter team reviewed the materials, which may indicate obstruction of justice. Combs, who has pleaded not guilty and denied wrongdoing, has been denied bail since his September 16th arrest in Manhattan. Judges have cited risks of witness tampering. Last week, his lawyers proposed a $50 million bail package with round-the-clock monitoring. Under house arrest attorney Alexandra Shapiro argued that jail conditions, including frequent lockdowns and limited access to resources, hinder Combs' ability to prepare for trial. Prosecutors opposed bail, stating Combs poses serious risks of danger and obstruction. They accused him of orchestrating social media posts to influence a potential jury pool. One-sided example involved a woman witness two who allegedly drafted a statement with Combs through multiple texts and calls from prison. Prosecutors suggested Combs may have paid witness to after the statement was posted. A video of Coles' children wishing him a happy birthday on November 5th was also cited as part of a public relations strategy to influence the case. Prosecutors alleged Combs monitored audience engagement and discussed its potential impact on jury members. Additional allegations include using other inmates' phone accounts to make calls and directing payments for his access. Prosecutors described Combs as orchestrating a relentless campaign to contact witnesses, including alleged victims of his abuse. They urged the judge to deny bail, arguing that no set of conditions could mitigate the risks. The defendant has demonstrated an uncanny ability to get others to do his bidding, they wrote, adding there is no reason to believe that private security personnel would be immune. While Combs' lawyers criticized jail conditions, prosecutors dismissed those claims, citing a lawyer's comment that food is probably the roughest part of Combs' adjustment to incarceration, adding to his woes. The case continues to build steam. A key ruling now allows one of Diddy's accusers to remain anonymous, which prosecutors say is crucial to protect the integrity of the trial. Diddy's defense, however, is expected to go on the offensive, aiming to discredit testimonies by highlighting inconsistencies and painting accusers as motivated by fame or money. Typically, when a district judge or magistrate judge considers a bail motion, it operates under a de novo standard. This means the case is reviewed as if for the first time, with no precedential impact from prior bail denials. However, when the case goes to appeal, the dynamic shifts significantly. On appeal, the higher court evaluates the lower court's decision under an abuse of discretion standard. This means the appellate court can only overturn the decision if it determines the lower court acted unreasonably or outside the bounds of its discretion. Essentially, the appellate court must give deference to the original ruling, making the odds of reversing a bail denial much lower.
Normally, when a district judge or a magistrate judge hears a bail motion, it's a de novo standard, which means for the first time. That means the previous application, the denials, they don't have any.
Furthermore, the applicant's circumstances frequently get worse over time because fresh information or more accusations may have a detrimental effect on their case. Due to this compounding effect, granting bail on appeal becomes more challenging. Diddy is allegedly delaying court cases by refusing to accept the service of numerous lawsuits from his jail cell. According to a petition filed on December 30th, attorney Tony Busby's co-counsel accused the founder of Bad Boy Records, who is now in detention on state allegations of stalling. His tactics resulted in postponements in two specific cases. Judges have been urged to move conferences that were originally scheduled to start on January 10th to February. According to reports, both legal teams have agreed on this change. One of the lawsuits is one that was filed by Diddy's former assistant Philip Pines, who accused him of battery H&T. According to TMZ, Pines claims that these instances happened throughout his time working with Diddy from January 2019 until September 2021. The lawsuit outlines Pines' duties, which include overseeing and tidying up after gatherings. Diddy allegedly referred to these parties as Wild King Nights, and according to Pines, they frequently lasted for days, leaving him to clean up body fluids. The parties allegedly involved packing rooms with wine honey packs, baby oil machines, and illegal Ds. In addition to the blood and D residue wrappers, he claims that Diddy forced him to have sex with a lady while he was watching. Hotel employees were allegedly paid off to keep the aftermath of these events unreported. We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason, but fortunately, there is a fair and impartial judicial process to find the truth, and Mr. Combs is confident he will win in court. Diddy and his legal team denied these allegations in a statement, saying that no matter how many lawsuits are filed, it won't change the fact that Mr. Combs has never or stead anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. According to Levine, Diddy and his fellow inmates at the MDC also receive a Christmas or holiday sack filled with goodies like cookies, potato chips, and candy. This goodie bag has gotten smaller over the years, but it's still made of plastic and resembles a large pillow. It contains a lot of junk that was likely bought because it was outdated, because the prison system sells out-of-date items, and they try to pretend that they're helping the inmates. Aside from his average holiday bag, he continued, "I'm sure they'll give him something, but there's not much more he's going to get another day." Sean Combs is facing yet another startling lawsuit. The legendary rapper and producer has recently been the target of numerous accusations, but this most recent case goes beyond that.
And Grayson explains that she and her sibling entered this contest and her sibling won. That included apparently round-trip airfare for the winner and a guest, brought her along, a hotel room, 2 white parties.
In contrast to the numerous anonymous accusations made against Diddy in the past, Grayson has come forward to publicly recount a terrifying story that involves a disturbing series of events connected to one of Diddy's famous white parties. What's even more concerning is the level of coordination she claims occurred between Diddy's companies, including a radio station, a hotel, and even an airline, all of which she believes contributed to her trauma. Let's start with the radio contest test that started it all back in 2006, a station in Oklahoma called Cams 105. For Grayson, 3FM's promotional giveaway, which was supported by Diddy's Bad Boy Entertainment, Atlantic Records, and Delta Airlines, seemed like a dream come true. The grand prize was a lavish trip to New York City for 2 people, which included an invitation to one of Diddy's renowned elite white parties, which were renowned for their celebrity guests and lavish displays of wealth.
The reason that she filed this lawsuit now, so many years later, is because Sean Combs is currently locked up in the Metropolitan Detention Center with no bond.
She entered this contest with her sibling, and the winner supposedly received round-trip airfare, plus a guest gave her 2 white party tickets and a hotel room. When it came time for the party, things took a dark turn. According to Grayson, she and her sibling arrived in New York City and were checked into the Roger Smith Hotel, anticipating an unforgettable experience. However, when they arrived at the venue in a van with other contest winners, a strange selection process took place. Contestants were judged based on their physical appearance, and only those selected were allowed inside the event. Grayson's sibling was turned away at the door, but she was allowed inside, which meant that she entered the party entirely alone, putting herself in a vulnerable position that created the nightmare. Grayson remembers an eerie ambience where there was no conventional bar where patrons could place drink orders. Instead, waitresses were serving pre-made cocktails to patrons who had just had 2 drinks. At St. Vincent's Medical Center, Grayson started feeling very sick and confused. She tried to go to the bathroom, but everything went dark. The next thing she remembers is waking up in a hospital bed. Her shirt was torn, her pants was gone, and her money was stolen. She didn't know how she got there or what had happened to her, and the hospital staff told her that she had been discovered unconscious and taken in for emergency care. Grayson was traumatized by the sheer terror of waking up in such a state and the lack of answers. To make matters worse, she later received a phone call from a woman warning her not to pursue legal action against Diddy. The caller allegedly told her that it would be a waste of time given his wealth and influence. This intimidation only made her fear and confusion worse, and she chose not to report the incident at the time. Fast forward almost 20 years, and Grayson is finally sharing her story. She claims she feels comfortable speaking out, especially now that Diddy is facing federal charges of racketeering.
Grayson explains that she and her sibling entered this contest and her sibling won. That included apparently round-trip airfare for the winner and a guest, brought her along, a hotel room, 2 white party tickets.
In addition to Diddy, Grayson's complaint also targets Bad Boy Entertainment and Atlantic Records. Using the Roger Smith Hotel and Delta Airlines as defendants, she contends that each of these organizations contributed to the circumstances that resulted in her. This case calls into question accountability, as well as the culture surrounding Diddy's parties, which have been tainted by rumors of abuse and exploitation over the years. Although Grayson's decision to come out is brave, his tale lends credence to these accusations by illustrating a party atmosphere that valued exclusivity and image over security and accountability. The defense may contend that her claims lack hard evidence because she doesn't have a direct memory of the incident or any particular interaction with Diddy. However, Grayson has included photographs, receipts, and medical records in support of her case, which could bolster her credibility. Additionally, there is the larger picture. From allegations of abuse by ex-girlfriends to accusations of planning exploitative settings at his parties, Diddy is currently facing a growing number of lawsuits, including Grayson's. The sheer volume of these claims begs the question of how many more stories like Grayson's are out there. Since federal authorities are also looking into Diddy on other accusations, the timing of this lawsuit couldn't be worse for him. However, Diddy's legal team has, as predicted, refuted the allegations and is probably planning a robust defense. This latest case, which is only starting to develop but is already creating waves, puts his public and private lives under much more scrutiny. Will Diddy finally face some much-needed accountability as a result of this lawsuit, or will it be another case where fame and fortune protect someone from the repercussions of their actions? Only time will tell. But when one thing is certain, LaToya Grayson's courage in coming forward may encourage other victims to do the same, shedding light on the murky side of a sector that has long been accused of ignoring abuse. What are your thoughts on these most recent accusations? With the trial scheduled for May 2025, everyone will be watching Diddy's every move. Will he remain composed as the evidence against him grows stronger, or will this alleged holiday meltdown be the first of many weaknesses in his defense? There is no doubt that the drama is far from over.